Welcome to this week's episode of Unsettle Yourself. The question for this week is what in your present experience is asking you for conscious completion? And what that is really regarding is releasing. So that's the theme for this week, which is release. And what is it that you need to release? But thinking about it from this conscious completion, what has really run its course? And what do you need to release so that it can be set free? So, when it comes to release, there are so many different aspects of it. It could be emotional, it could be physical, and it could be mental. There are various different areas that you can address, and maybe you address all of them, or maybe you address just one. But it's really important to make sure that there's release in all three areas. So, again, like I've talked about the mind body spirit connection, and each of them need to really be whole and really need to be healing from their own point of view in order to connect and to align with each other. So, if any of those areas are holding on to something and aren't releasing all of the things that need to be released, then there's going to be tension and resistance and friction amongst the three as well. So, when it comes to physical release, I'm actually going to be talking to one of my friends. She is a movement expert, and we're going to talk about some of the physical ones in an Instagram Live, and I'll try to record that so that I can have that for you as well. But really, it's important because your body holds on to so much of the things that you think about and the emotions that you have. So this is how they're all connected. So if you're holding on to certain emotions, you're actually usually storing them within your body, and releasing them, letting them go physically also helps you then let them go and release them emotionally or mentally. So when it comes to physical release, there are so many different things that you can do. It could just be creating movement within your body and targeting specific areas that we're known to hold things onto. So your shoulders and your hips are huge. They tend to be the areas that most people hold on to the most tension and emotions. So doing hip opening exercises, hip stretches, um, rolling your shoulders constantly. One of my favorite things to do is actually to breathe in and create your own tension so that you can then release it. So the practice is breathing in and getting really tight and then releasing it. So that and when you breathe in, you create the tension. When you breathe out, you release and you let go of all of that. So it's a conscious decision to actually create what you're holding on to first, so that you also have then the conscious decision to release it and to let it go. Now, when it comes to emotions, the biggest thing is actually facing them. So you can't release something you're not aware of. And becoming aware of what you're actually feeling is the most important thing. So if you're not sure, you feel really emotional and you feel like you're holding on to something, but you're not naming it and you're not letting yourself know what it is, that's where you need to start. You need to start with, I'm feeling really frustrated, or I'm feeling really angry, or maybe you're just feeling really sad or guilty. Like if it's a negative emotion that you really need to release, then you need to name what it is first in order for you to be able to even let it go. Otherwise, it's just going to stick around because you don't have a rule of thumb for what it actually is. And then when it's mentally, it's really interesting because your thoughts are floating through you. They're not a part of you, they don't define who you are, and yet so many of us, we hold on to our thoughts. So one of the easiest, my favorite ways is through meditation. And in meditation, really acknowledging what those thoughts are. So whether it's thoughts about yourself, thoughts about your capabilities, thoughts about other people, what's going on in the world, really look at them and watch them float by you. They're your thoughts. However, they don't define you and who you are and what you truly think about yourself and what's going on. You're getting information from so many different areas, whether it's through TV or people that you talk to or things that you read or things that you see, and your mind is trying to make sense of all of it. So it has thoughts in order to do that. But not every thought is actually truth, and not every thought is conducive to your health. So if you just acknowledge that you're having these thoughts and that they don't necessarily need to be a part of you, that you can watch them, literally watch them float by just like they're a cloud in the sky, and you see it and you can watch it go by in your meditation, or even if you're just sitting there and doing it in a conscious way of imagining it. So you don't necessarily need to go into a deep meditation, but you can just imagine this is this thought and I'm watching this cloud of a thought float away, because you don't need to hold on to that and you can release it. So the most important thing here is the conscious completion of something. So really think about the people, the situations, the experiences, and the unforgiven hurt from the past that you're holding on to. These are the things that actually manifest itself within your body, that create tension, that create um, immunity deficiencies, because when our body is at odds with itself, it's really hard for it to fight off other things. So if you look at those things, really take a look and take stock at what are the things that you need to release, whether they are situations and experiences, or people, or past hurts. Because you holding on to that is only hurting yourself. It's not hurting anybody else. And it's not going to teach anybody else a lesson either. Just to clarify that, I definitely had that mindset and that phase when I was growing up, that by me, feeling hurt towards somebody and trying to let them know that, or trying to teach them that they need to know this, it doesn't actually teach anybody a lesson, and it's not your job to teach them that lesson necessarily. So take all of that into consideration and think about release this week and what you're setting free and what is coming to a conscious completion within your own life. And I encourage you to write it down, or at least just take stock of all of these things, and yeah, just really address these and what you want to release going forward for the whole week. And if you need any help or you would like some guidance or assistance, feel free to reach out. The link is down below.